We're theme park families.
Theme park families.
We're theme park families.
Won't you join us now?
We're theme park families.
Thanks for joining us, we aim to please.
If roller coasters got you weak in the knees,
We're theme park families.
if you wanna find the best dessert or
Take a potty break with privacy,
find a coaster that is tame for little ones,
or one to make you scream.
we're theme park families.
Everybody's ready to get babies.
Rescuing you all from life's luxuries.
We're theme park families.
We're theme park families.
Press the space bar to get it.
Yay!
So glad you found us for episode 2 of Theme Park Families. I'm Adam.
And I'm Andrew.
And today we look forward to getting into our regular format. Today we'll have Andrew's news, discuss a trip to Canada's Wonderland, hear from a disgruntled fan's experience at Carowinds, discuss our summer plans, learn Andrew's top 10 coasters, and finish with our ride and tip of the week. But before we get there, just a couple things I want to discuss. First of all, a big thanks to superstar Angel Mike Collins. Beautiful singer, and we really appreciate having such a gigantic star on for our first episode. What'd you think of Angel Mike Collins?
Oh, I love him. He has such a pretty voice.
Really does. And you don't know his counterpart, Evil Mike Collins, right?
I've heard of him.
And that's all you'll hear about him from now. So it was great to have Angel Mike Collins on the show to start things off. Thank you so much for that. Another thing you said first episode, which I thought was kind of interesting. You mentioned that you were going to handle the small rides and the small coasters, and I was going to take the bigger coasters,
Yeah.
which I thought was odd. How do you feel about small rides and kiddie coasters?
Well, for people who know me, I hate kiddie rides. And I mean I hate them. I will not do them unless I'm forced or a parent tells me to do them.
For people that we know who need a kid for a credit, they're much more likely to get one through Alex than Andrew, who's in some ways sort of a coaster snob that way. He'd almost rather not have the credit at all than have to do something like that. I think the perfect example of that is with Drop Towers, in terms of his bravery and how he feels about rides. Our first year, we really didn't do any big Drop Towers. Our first year at Great Adventure, we didn't even think of doing Zoom and Jaro. You might have mentioned it one or two times, but overall, it wasn't really a thought. We were working our way up there. First Drop Tower, do you remember what that was?
Voodoo Drop at Six Flags America.
And that was 2 years ago because we didn't go back there. And for those of you who know Six Flags America, you probably can figure out why. But that was our first one, and I was nervous doing that. That's about 160 feet, but once we did that, we figured we were ready to move up from there. Your second Drop Tower was?
Our second Drop Tower was Sasquatch at Six Flags Great Escape.
And so that was a little bit taller, about 200 feet, relocated from Six Flags New Orleans, I believe. And then from there, we had met Clint and Sherry, Clint from In the Loop, and we met them at King's Dominion one day, and Andrew, right when we got there, said, "Oh, I can't wait to do Drop Zone, it looks so cool." And do you remember kind of what I was saying about that all day?
Yeah, you're like, let's go to Grizzly, or let's go eat, or how about I go do Intimidator 305, or let's go to Backlot.
Or, we only did Rebel Yell 17 times. It's really that 18th time that I really want to do. Oh, let's go to the bed. Let's get a drink. Let's do this. And finally, it was sort of dusk. The park was closing soon, and I had to give in as Andrew was looking at me very angrily, and he dragged me on there, and boy, I was nervous. But what'd you think of that Drop Tower?
Oh, it was, I want to say, one of the most intense Drop Towers I've ever done. It was just like, it was crazy.
It really was. And glad we were able to do it. Then after that, we had gotten to Great Adventure, and I was with Alexander and Maddie and Andrew. Melissa wasn't there. So I wasn't able to do Zumanjaro with him, and he just decided, all right, I'll do it by myself. We get in line. He jumps on. He's smiling in the seat. Thumbs up, goes up, drops down. Giant smile on his face, loves it, and I just stare in amazement as I didn't do it for probably a month after that when I met some friends there later on. And so in terms of kiddie rides versus big rides, I don't think I'm necessarily any more qualified to talk about them, other than the fact that you haven't been able to do 54-inch coasters yet. On to our first segment of Andrew's News, and these are news articles from the week that Andrew thinks is kind of interesting, that he wants to talk about a little bit, and we'll discuss, and so we'll have that at the beginning of each show.
If not riding coasters will give you the blues, it's Andrew's News. We start off with an important water park opening that kicked off this past weekend with the opening of Cedar Point Shores. Did you think I was going to say Volcano Bay? Temperatures were in the upper 50s, lower 60s.
So kind of rough. That is a tough opening. And Cedar Point water parks in May, always kind of tricky. Do you remember last year, in the second week of May, what the weather was like when we went to Cedar Point for our first time?
Oh, we were wearing jackets. It was really cold.
And what did it actually do when we were walking in the one day? Weather-wise, what was falling from the sky?
Rain? Sleet?
Sleet, exactly. Not exactly the most comfortable roller coaster weather. We went there 3 different times to Cedar Point last year. What did you think of the water park?
Well, I mean, there wasn't that much there. And their slides didn't have that much quality in them. And they just didn't look that fun.
So how many times did we do the water park at Cedar Point last year?
0.
0. It's hard when you have that many great coasters to do a water park, nevertheless one that looks like that. So do you think it's good that they got the new water park?
Of course.
The pictures really do look amazing based on what we've seen so far. It's possible for one of our trips we'd go there. What do you think?
Back then, when it was a little old, their slides were, they were dirty, they were a little rusty, and it was just not worth going. So I didn't think it was that cool.
Even the big family ride, I think they repainted. It looks a lot better, and I think it's going to be a much better experience. So we might go there. It's possible at some point that we'd go to the water park. Number 2.
A 10-year-old boy fell off a water slide in the second hour of opening day of a new water park called The Wave in California.
And so the video has been making the rounds lately. It sounds a bit misleading. He didn't fall off the top or in the middle. It was the flat part of the ride where the water slide ends. So he just kind of popped out of there, not going super fast. The slide itself might have been about 40 feet tall, but definitely straight down a pretty steep angle. Apparently he was okay, suffered some scrapes and injuries. And so what did you think when you saw that video?
I mean, it didn't look that bad. He just kind of flew a little over the railing, and I think it was actually his fault because some people said that he was supposed to cross his arms and legs and he didn't, and that's maybe why he flew out. So I don't think it's an error on the water slide.
The slide has been closed, and that's a rough start for a water park to have an accident like that has a video of it and now is online and in the media. So the slide is now closed. Obviously, they need to build those walls up a little bit so no one flies over again. Not the best design there. And it's strange because I don't know why, but a lot of people that we know, different friends of ours, say that you fall out of roller coasters all the time. What's up with that?
Oh, well, that's mostly Nathan Slater.
Okay, so we're going to make sure this whole year you don't fly out of a coaster, right?
Yeah, he says bring some duct tape.
That's pretty silly. All right, story number 3.
A reporter lost his mind sounding like a child, terrified of a spider on Disneyland's new Guardian of the Galaxy ride.
All right, as we said, we're sort of Disney novices, but we saw this in a hotel recently on Good Morning America, and this reporter sort of loses his mind. Now, we don't even know that much of what the old Tower of Terror ride looks like. Graphics look great, but this reporter has some issues, as you can hear here. We'll play a little bit of the video so you can get a feel for how this reporter reacts. Have you ever screamed like that on a ride?
Never, but I've heard some girls behind me scream like that. Nevertheless, in the 30s, man.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's in his early 30s. The ride itself looks beautiful. The screens look great. The ride itself looks awesome. His reaction there is maybe a little over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to think he's acting it out, but at the same time, his reaction is just so real.
And that is Andrew's news. On to one of our first coaster trips of the year. Earlier, we went to Six Flags New England once, and that was really your first trip so far this year. And so a couple of weeks ago, we were able to go to Canada's Wonderland. There was a special day that Melissa got off, and we were able to take off as well. And we decided to head up to Canada's Wonderland, which is one of our favorite parks. Melissa had never been there before. I found out a couple of days before that Monday happened to be Victoria Day, which is for Queen Victoria's birthday, a national holiday in Canada. But the hope was that it still wouldn't be as bad as a regular weekend day in the summer. Our friend Andy from up in Toronto, who lives a couple of miles away, who's met us at Canada's Wonderland in the past, warned me but said it wouldn't be too bad. So we got up super early that morning, around 5. We're about 4.5 hours away from Canada's Wonderland, and so we woke up pretty early. We like to get to a park before it opens, but it wasn't possible. We needed to wake up way too early to do that. And so we got there about a half hour before the park opened. And it was a bad sign when on the driveway heading into Canada's Wonderland, it was backed up about a half a mile. It took about 35 minutes to get through the toll booths. Those of you who have been there know about the entranceway through the traffic light. It bends around towards the lake where Behemoth is. And then you've got a stretch of about a quarter of a mile to get to the booths. They definitely need some more parking booths at that park. Once we actually got into line at security, the line actually moved pretty quickly. Were you impressed by that?
Yeah, I mean, it would normally look like 30 minutes, but at the least, it was probably 10 minutes.
Not too bad, exactly. Last time we went, last summer, the lines were a lot slower. So we got into the park, and Melissa was very impressed by the entrance, beautiful fountains and the mountain, and we decided to head to Wonder Mountain's Guardian, as that's one of the slowest loading rides and one of the slowest lines that there was. It worked out perfectly as they opened the ride as we were walking past, so the line really wasn't that long. We did parent swap, so I went up with Maddie and Alex, and Andrew and Melissa went first. When we got upstairs, I noticed that there were 3 different seats that were cordoned off as not working on the 5 different cars that they had, which seems like it really was strange at this time of the year, so early in the year to have 3 seats not working, whether it was the gun or the restraints, and that hurts capacity quite a lot. So Melissa went on with Andrew, and we didn't tell Melissa about the surprise there, and we're not going to ruin it now. For those of you who eventually will get to Canada's Wonderland, we don't want to ruin that surprise. But I tried to get a special hidden microphone on Andrew to record Melissa's response because I knew it would be. And so they went on it, and what did she think of the ride?
She was freaked out. I mean, I hit record, but I guess it just didn't come. It's kind of hard to explain her reaction. And when she got in the mountain, she was like all calm and like doing her usual stuff where she's shooting the screens. And then when we got to I don't want to ruin it.
The surprise.
The ending.
Mm-hmm.
She got pretty freaked out. I mean, she was screaming like that guy.
Was it that bad?
I would say.
That is awesome. That's great to hear. I'm sure I made a noise the first time too, and I know that Alex was pretty shocked when he saw it for the first time. Mm-hmm. So that went really well. Ride was working, guns were working, so that was exciting. We then headed over to the Behemoth section, and Melissa and I did the parent swap with Maddie, and Andrew and Alex did Backlot Stunt Coaster. What did you think of that ride this time?
I don't want to say it's the best backlot because they had like zero effects working. Where it was supposed to be the fire and the helicopter, you stopped there for about 3 seconds, then it launched you into that underground tunnel, and it was just not that good. I mean, the line was moving pretty quickly for a long line that's like, it was near Behemoth's entrance.
But it moved quickly, so that is good. Behemoth at that point was only about 25 minutes. Melissa went, we swapped out Maddie, and then I went. Still love that ride. Just terrific airtime. I think of it a lot like Intimidator at Carowinds. After that, Melissa kept saying, oh, Maddie needs to do something, so we decided to take Maddie over to Camp Snoopy section and let Melissa do Sledgehammer, which is such a unique flat ride, and really the only one of those in the world. And so we headed over. At that point, the park starts getting a lot more crowded. And when we got to the kids section in the back, which I think is the best kids section of any park I've been to, wow, it was a shock. The swarms of people were just amazing at that point. Every single ride had enormous lines. In fact, we got in line for Taxi Jam, their little 7-foot kiddie coaster. And for the first 15 minutes, we didn't move. So we decided at that point it was going to be over an hour. So there was no way we were going to do it so that Maddie could get on it. It was just way too long. So then we just headed over to a parachute ride that moves kind of slowly. And Andrew and Alex and Maddie went on together. And Maddie had such a wonderful smile. So that was the one ride she got onto. We got off of that. It was so mobbed, we didn't even think of getting onto another kiddie ride. Somehow, Melissa was actually able to find us after that because that place was so swamped. Even that pizza line had well over an hour line. How do you wait in line for an hour and a half for pizza? I don't know.
I think they're GP and they don't know where to go.
Well, that is true. If you know the right spot, and we knew the right spot, because we went twice. What was the name of the restaurant we went to?
Backlot Cafe. I'll tell you, it is one of the best, if not the best, place to eat. I mean, they had awesome burritos. I think they might be almost a little better than the King's Dominion burritos. They're really good.
Yeah, right at the entrance there of King's Dominion. It's a really great restaurant that they have Indian food, they have Mexican food, Italian food. It's really a nice mix of different cultures. And certainly Toronto is very diverse ethnically. So we found Melissa, and she agreed with me with Sledgehammer, that it is a really cool looking ride, but not as forceful as you think it's going to be, but still completely worth doing. After that, we decided to head to the Leviathan section, because I knew Melissa at least had to do that. Fury is her favorite ride, so I really wanted to experience that and compare it to Fury and see what she thought. We left her there, decided we'd do a parent swap eventually, and come back at a later point whenever she was finished. The boys went over to Dragonfire, and they rode that together while I watched Maddie. What did you think of Dragonfire this time?
Well, I think it has improved. I mean, it's gotten a lot smoother, and I think there isn't that much headbanging. I mean, the line went pretty quick, pretty long. And the TVs, they were glitchy for some reason.
On-board TVs? They had TVs on the coaster?
Yeah.
They had TVs on the coaster.
No, in the line they did.
In the line. Well, that's very important. So glitchy TVs in the line.
Yeah. And surprisingly, it felt like the line in the station was longer than the line outside.
So maybe they did some maintenance on the trains this year. So good that you had a nice smooth ride on that. It took Melissa about an hour and a half, which is shocking. Because B&Ms usually have really quick lines, and those kind of rides eat people. But that was a really busy day. A lot of people had fast lane passes that day.
Yeah, like when we went to the Leviathan entrance, our mom was like almost in the station. She was up the stairs, and I was like, wow, she is only up the stairs? That's incredible.
It took a really long time, and so we had a great ride. I liked Leviathan more this time, and we're going to cover Canada's Wonderland in more detail when it's our park of the month, but I liked it. It's nowhere near as good as Fury, and I wish I had done Leviathan first and then Fury second. I probably would have liked it more last year, but it's still a really good ride. Well, after that, we decided, wow, the lines are so long and so crazy, and we've got a 4.5-hour drive back, so that was about it. We got some dinner and headed back, and thinking about it, there are so many rides that we didn't get to do that the boys could have done size-wise. Vortex is one of our favorites there, but we were going to try to do at the end. It had at least an hour-and-a-half line spilling way into the midway. They also can do Wild Beast and Canada Mindbuster, but we didn't get to do those as well, and the mine train that runs through the mountain didn't get to do that either. But we'll get back there again this summer, definitely during a weekday, and ride those again, right?
Oh, definitely. And I need to get back there and do Flight Deck. It's a 52-inch coaster, and I'm there.
Oh, and so that's going to happen. Flight Deck is pretty much a guarantee. So it's a guarantee we'll get back to Canada's Wonderland again. So a listener sent us some audio from Carowinds, where we'll be next week for the Coastal Radio meetup. Let's take a listen.
Wow, Dad, I can't believe we're finally here. I finally get a chance to ride Fury. Everyone says it's the best coaster in the world.
You're sure you're not too nervous to ride this? Look how tall that thing is. It must be at least 200 feet tall.
Ugh, come on, Dad. Don't be ridiculous. It's obviously 325 feet with a drop of 320 feet at an 81-degree angle with a total of 6,602 feet of drop. I wish you had researched this information, Dad. You're an embarrassment.
Okay, whatever that was. Oh, look! The line is really short! Let's go!
Why, hello, little darling. Can I help you?
My dad and I are so excited to jump on the ride.
That's right! We can't believe there's no line yet!
Well, it's still quite early. Just you wait until later. Oh, wait, gentlemen. Before you head down, would you mind if I just checked his height quickly?
Oh, sure. No problem at all.
Well, I'm sorry, Sugar. You're just not tall enough to ride yet.
Oh, no! What? Is he really close? Like the top of the pole is sort of scraping his hair? Like he could just sort of stand a little taller? Or grow really quickly?
6 inches, sir. He's 6 inches too short. Maybe he'll be ready in about 3 years.
Oh, dear. Sorry. Thanks. Sorry, buddy. Why don't we just go get some lunch and an ice cream sundae? That'll help, and there are plenty other great rides here.
Ugh, you know nothing, Dad. Not for 48-inch riders. I'm just going to pop into the bathroom and I'll meet you at our table. Oh, and it'll be a while. The chili dog is hitting hard.
I know what you mean. That chili is dangerous. And I noticed you were having some issues when we were riding Hurler. Seemed like I was always downwind. Woohoo! See you in a little bit.
Okay, plan B. Glad I brought my leisure suit and platform shoes. I've been working on my London accent as well. She'll never recognize me.
Well, aren't you a groovy bird? Hello, love. Can't wait to get on your blinding coaster.
Oh, honey, that's an adorable outfit. But polyester and 104-degree heat don't mix too well. You're gonna either pass out or smell worse than one of our restaurant's dumpsters, Sugar. Silly boy, I know it's you. Your awful Australian accent is what gave you away.
Yeah, baby, yeah. What? You must be mental, love. I've never seen you before.
You just go run along now and find your daddy. I'm just too busy for this nonsense.
On to plan C, I guess. Time to get my extra long pants out. Hello, Mum Picturia. Just rode from jolly old England and can't wait to ride
Oh, well, your accent has improved immeasurably, honey, but I can see the outlines of your stilts under your pants. This is not going to get you on the ride any faster. Why don't you get a ride on Lucy's Krabby Cabby? That ride's better than biscuits and gravy.
Please, sir, I want some more.
More? You want some more? Actually, that didn't even make sense. I give you credit. You are persistent. You've got to go now. I have a real job to do, honey.
I'd rather ride a bench than Lucy's rather shabby. I've ridden Millennium Force. One last idea in my bag of tricks.
Well, a pogo stick. Well, that's creative. Okay, honey, you can ride.
Really?
No, silly munchkin, but you have made my day. Now don't come back or I'll have you thrown out of the park. Bye-bye.
I will have my revenge, Fury. This isn't over. Ha ha ha.
Oh, hi, buddy. Thought you fell in. I was gonna come check on you.
No, I'm okay. For some reason, I feel a bit furious.
Wow, I felt really sorry for that kid, poor guy.
Yeah, he sounded a little disappointed. And I was really listening to the chili dog part. That really gets me too.
Well, 6 inches, he could make that up in a couple months, so maybe we'll hear back from him later on in the season. Now on to our summer plans. There are a lot of exciting new things that we'll be doing this year that we really can't wait for. It's going to be a great year. We're adding a lot of new parks, a lot of new coasters, and so let's go through them, see what we think, all right?
Okay.
Starting at number 1, next week we go to Carowinds for the Coaster Radio Meetup. And what do you think of Carowinds?
I think it's a little too overrated, mostly because I can't do that many stuff. Because, I mean, it's mostly for the bigger riders, like the 54-inch, because they have, of course, Fury and stuff like that.
So many rides there, B&M rides that are 54, and Nighthawk is 54. So, yeah, it's a rough park view, certainly. But still, a nice place, and we can't wait to see everyone there at Carowinds. So many good friends that we're excited to see. And they are not slackers at all in any way. When they say they're going to be there, they're there. Next up, the weekend after. Wow, a crazy back-to-back weekends for us, and this is a rarity. But we've got so exciting, what is it? World! Our first Holiday World trip. Hollywood Nights, our first one. Yay! So exciting, where we're gonna get to meet Paula and the Ho-Wo-Po gang. So excited to see them. Just off the top of your head, what are the things you're most excited about with Holiday World?
Definitely meeting Paula, because I've heard a lot of talk about her.
Yay!
EB's talking about her and how she's so nice. And, I'm excited to meet all of the group, not just her.
Oh, they are such a friendly group. That's obvious from the podcast, as we've been listening to a lot lately. So, yeah, meeting them is really exciting. And then what rides?
So, Brian Wackler from Civil Gore podcast, he has been telling me that Legend might be my favorite coaster there.
Wow, okay.
And then I'm so excited to do Voyage. Everybody's been hyping it up, and I don't want to be disappointed because I've been hyping it up so much, and I just am excited, and I also can't wait to do Thunderbird.
Can't wait for that coaster as well. Looks amazing. What coasters there don't look amazing? Water coasters as well. We have one experience with water coasters. You remember what that was?
Bootleggers Run at
Splish Splash.
Splish Splash.
And these coasters look 74,000 times better. Everything about Holiday World's exciting. Water park, the rides, the people. It's going to be magical, so I can't wait to report back from Holiday World.
Free
Yay!
soda!
Free sunscreen! Free parking!
Yay!
yeah. And just a ton of fun. So we cannot wait for that. Woohoo! All right. After that, we've got Michigan's Adventure, where we're going to do a mini Coaster Radio meetup with EB and the family. You know anything about Michigan's Adventure?
Well, I know it has shivering timbers.
Okay, very
but
good.
Not that much more.
Okay, and really, I think a lot of our listeners would say not much more needs to be known about it. So I think that a lot of that's going to be get some credits, meet some great people, and that should be enough.
Yep.
Kennywood. We have Kennywood that comes up shortly after that. I think actually early August will be Kennywood. And what catches your eye about Kennywood trip?
Oh, of course, Phantom's Revenge to be crying out loud.
All right, Phantom's Revenge. Really excited about that. Some really solid wooden coasters too that so many people rave about. The charm of that park. The potato patch fries are supposed to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so a lot of history there. Can't wait to get there as well. So all of those are new for us other than Carowinds so far. Then we've got the Slater trip out to the great far Midwest, where Slater, executive producer of Coaster Radio and Ride This One announcer, star. Boo! What are we booing?
I can't listen to it.
Well, your voice is on it. You're booing yourself there, sonny boy.
Hey.
Well, he's going to host us, and he's like, from what I hear, the president at Silver Dollar City. He's probably by now some kind of famous superstar where people are coming up to him for autographs. So Silver Dollar City, what are you excited about there?
Outlaw Run.
Oh, one of your most anticipated coasters, Outlaw Run.
Probably.
Yep. Anything else you know about Silver Dollar City in general?
Well, I know that it has this big, I don't want to say playground, but play area inside where it has like these balls you can launch out of little shooters. And that looks pretty fun in their kiddie-ish area.
Yeah, I think Alex is very excited about that. What are they, red balls? Is that it? That they shoot at each other?
Yeah, I think. Red and I don't know. Blue?
So, blue?
Maybe some.
Oh, blue. Alex says blue. All right, they're blue. And maybe we'll get Nathan in there and shoot some balls at him. What do you think?
He's a big target.
Oh, no! That just means he's very tall, right?
Yeah, right.
It means he's not a kid. That most of the people in there will be kids, and he's not, so he'll be a bigger target. Right, we've got it. Next up, Worlds of Fun in Kansas City. You know anything about Worlds of Fun?
Never really heard of it.
Yeah, Worlds of Fun has a Morgan hypercoaster that is a lot like Steel Force, so you're excited about that, right? Steel Force? Steel Force, you've heard of it? Steel Force? Does Steel Force sound familiar?
Yeah.
That you've ridden about 74 times? Yeah. And so they have one of those. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. New experience. We've got Six Flags St. Louis as well as part of that trip. And they have a couple of decent wooden coasters, so kind of excited to get there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Towards the end of the year, mark it on your calendars. October 13th, Friday the 13th. Very spooky in October.
So
what do we have?
Fun! It's Haunt at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg.
Our first time there, and that's really exciting. The home of Prince Mike Collins, Angel Mike Collins, and maybe Evil Mike Collins. What are you excited about Busch Gardens, Williamsburg?
Oh, I'm just excited to be there.
The theming, the flowers, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be so pretty, and at Haunt, it'll look amazing. I mean, I can't wait to do some of the Haunt stuff. I'm also excited to do some of the coasters there. And some water rides, like Escape from Pompeii. I mean, that just looks so cool with the falling stuff in the fire.
Might be a little chilly in October.
No, there's fire in there, dude.
After you have the final splashdown,
yeah,
the fire's going to warm you up back in the building. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, I didn't think of that.
But your first B&M Hyper, the only one that we've heard of, that is 52 inches with Apollo's Chariot. That's kind of exciting.
Apollo's Chariot.
Invader, you can do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so looking really forward to that as we haven't been there yet. The following day, the 14th on Saturday, King's Dominion. Kind of looking forward to that. Kentucky Kingdom, if we get a chance, we might get there. That $29.99 special for out-of-state people, that's just such a good deal. 2 days, $29.99, water park and the regular park. So might have a chance to do that. Anything about Kentucky Kingdom you look forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the water park. Now, I'm looking forward to the water park because their capsule sled, I've heard, is amazing. It's really tall, and I've heard stories about it, and it just from the pictures I've seen, it looks really cool.
That might be the kind of thing I would chicken out on, but I will give it my best shot. Storm Chaser as well, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, no, that any chance to get it on an RMC, you've got to take it. Couple other things. Lake Compounds, with Brian and Julia are good friends.
Oh.
They've been mentioning it to me for a couple years to get out there. And what are you interested in at Lake Compounds?
Oh, well, you see, it's a little park, but it really has been talked about a lot. And I just can't wait to do some of the carnival-y things they have there.
Carnival-y, a new word that you've created.
Yeah, it sounds good, right?
And in that, did Boulder Dash come out there? Boulder Dash, did he say that at any point there?
No, I did not, but Boulder Dash, yeah. I'm excited about that.
Not #1 wooden coaster in America, they say.
No.
No, that's what the golden ticket said.
Yeah, but that's not what I said.
All right, well, so you know better than the golden ticket people, I guess.
Yeah, they know nothing, the GP.
All right, that's what you want to call them.
Yeah.
We want to make friends with everyone, don't we?
Oh, no, not everyone.
Okay. End of the year, we've got Darien Lake, which Alex and Melissa have been to, but we have not. And so we're going there. Do you remember what reason? Who's going to be at Darien Lake, dude? The only reason we're going there.
Coast Radio?
No, there's people with instruments who sing and...
Oh, Green Day, never mind.
Green Day, just that minor thing. Yeah, we went to see Green Day at Barclays Center in March. Great show, one of our favorite bands, and they're going to be there. And the crazy thing is, lawn seats are $30, and you get into the park for free. I don't understand how that's possible, but sounds good, sign me up. Anything you're looking forward to at Darien Lake?
Good deal. I am kind of looking forward to the water park if we're going to go there. And I can't do Superman, so there's not that much I can do there. I mean, there's a couple wooden coasters and...
Yeah, just... What, Predator?
Predator.
That Dan the T-shirt guy likes. So.
Sounds mean.
Yeah, if it's open, which apparently closes a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see. When we get to the fall, we'll definitely talk about haunts, as Andrew's done a couple of them, and by Andrew has, I guess I have. He's actually done more than I have. Do you remember the one that you did at Cedar Point with Uncle Michael?
Yeah, it's the witches one.
Yeah, which was underneath, or it was near...
Gatekeeper.
Yeah, okay, so I didn't get to do that, but you did it.
I mean, it was not that hyper, but it was ranked one of the scariest. I mean, it wasn't too bad.
And then we did 2 Blood on the Bayous, one at Cedar Point and one at Dorney. At Dorney.
Definitely, the one at Dorney, surprisingly, was a lot scarier. More jump scares, more, I want to say, rated R-ish.
Okay, so that's a possibility that we'll do some more haunts and report on that, as we're just kind of starting to learn a lot of those things. We'll do a bit of water parks as well. We kind of like them. We know a lot of people in the coast community kind of hate water parks, but we like them, and certain rides I think are kind of fun, so we'll be chatting about that as well. Next up, I wanted to review Andrew's top 10 favorite roller coasters, and I wanted to do it early on for this reason. As we stated earlier, this is a big year for Andrew in terms of new coasters. Not only all the new parks we'll be to, but the old parks that we've been to that now he can ride 52-inch coasters. Some parks are great for it, like Cedar Point, and have a lot of 52-inch coasters, and a lot of parks don't have any at all. But still, he's going to add a lot to his repertoire. So I'm really interested to see what his list is now, and then we'll come back at the end of the season, let's say in November, and review his top 10 list then, and see how many new coasters there are, what has changed, and what has stayed the same. It's going to be kind of interesting. So we'll start it off at the back and then work our way up. So, number 10.
Twister at Knoebel.
Great ride. What do you like about it?
It has some great drops. Its turns are just great. And yeah, it's just a good coaster.
Number 9.
Backlot stunt coaster located at a bunch of different parks.
Which one is your favorite of the 3?
Oh, King's Dominion. I know.
Because it has the most things working.
Yeah, and it feels the fastest.
Okay.
Say?
No, sure. Well, you could say that if you want. Absolutely.
Okay.
Number 8.
Daredevil Dive at Six Flags over Georgia.
And what did you like about that?
I mean, the first drop is just I want to say intense, but it was fun too. And the corkscrews are fun, and the turns are fun too. Getting ready for Maverick. So, drum roll please.
Brr, number 7.
Wild Eagle at Dollywood.
And that's exciting because it was your first
B&M
Yeah.
coaster.
Very good, yeah. The only B&M that's 50 inches that we knew of. So last year when we went to Dollywood multiple times, he was able to do it. So very
Drum
good.
roll please.
Brrr.
Number 6, Phoenix at Knoebels.
Wow, Knoebels representing in Andrew's top 10.
Well, some of you might disagree with this, but I think it should be in my number 6 place because its airtime is insane. Its drops just lift you out of your seat. I mean, for me, it feels like a foot high. I mean, it's just crazy.
Maybe that's the coaster that Nathan's whole Andrew's flying out of the coaster thing started off, because that's the coaster where you really could fly out.
Yeah.
Brrr, number 5.
Mystery Mine at Dollywood.
And what do you love about that?
Oh, its theming is crazy, its drops are crazy, its turns are crazy, its inversions are crazy. I mean, it's just a good coaster with a lot of theming, and I mean, it impresses me a lot. It's pretty long. I mean, that's why it's at the top of my list.
So what you're saying is it's crazy. That's what I'm getting out of you?
Yeah.
All right. Brrr, number 4.
Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England.
Such a great ride. And I think we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Yep.
So on to number 3. Brrr.
Lightning Rod. Now, some of you might disagree with me and say that it's your number 1 coaster. Now, it would have been my number 1 coaster if it was a bit longer and had some more, I want to say, just more drops and more turns. I mean, it already has a lot of turns, for crying out loud. But it looks like it just wouldn't be enough to make my number 1 spot.
Well, funny you say that someone disagree and call it their number 1. I think someone disagree and say it needs to be turned into a butterfly sanctuary, as it seems to never be open. We really lucked out last year, the last 2 times we went, but it is a mess and not getting any better this year.
No.
Kind of crazy. Brrr, on to the penultimate coaster with number 2.
Millennium Farce.
Ah, the farce. Very good. What do you like about Millennium Farce?
Oh, it's just, I want to say it's crazy, but I already said that to a lot of
Not
other
every coaster
coasters.
can be crazy, right?
No.
So this is sort of insane. How about that?
Yeah, insane.
All right, and I'm sure
Insanely crazy.
insanely crazy. All right, we'll take it. And your number 1 coaster,
Toro!
El Toro. I mean, it started it out all for us, so I think it's sentimental more than anything. But I would have expected that would have been your
It's
first coaster.
probably staying there.
It's probably staying there for a while. We'll see. A lot of great coasters coming up this year. Our first ride of the week is going to be
Wicked Cyclone.
at Six Flags New England. This was our first RMC, and we did it only about a month and a half, maybe a little bit less, after it opened in 2015. Alex, what is it that you like about Wicked Cyclone?
I like theming, like the plane that's crashed and the little boat and the car that's crashed and the bent signs.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool theming. They really did a lot bringing all that in. Sort of like Apocalypse at Six Flags America. All of those things, including the newscast that they used to have, which I used to really like. It's a shame they took it out, where it would be a forecast and weather and news people talking about a wicked cyclone is coming. And really, in the middle of the second season, they kind of got rid of that.
I mean, it's Six Flags.
Yeah, that's kind of, sadly, at some places what we come to expect. The ride itself, we didn't know what to experience. We never did the old Cyclone there, and all of it was kind of new to us. When you look at it, it's really not that spectacular. It looks cool from the road. The orange rails really kind of pop out at you. But when you see the lift hill, which is only 109 feet tall, it's kind of like, what's that going to be? In the first 2 seasons, they didn't let you pick which row you were going to sit in, but now they do. And so you come out of the station and head up the lift hill at a pretty steep angle. So what do you think of the first drop, Andrew?
I mean, it's little, but it's steep. I mean, you can't compare it to Millennium Force's drop. I mean, they're just so different. But it's steep, and that's what adds the intensity.
Love that first drop. At 109 feet, it almost packs a punch of a coaster that's 300 feet because of how steep it is, especially when you're in that back row. Love the back row on that ride. That first wave turn is great as you kind of overbank there. Then that stall is just incredible. And I like the RMC restraints. I know a lot of people don't, but I am a fan of them. They don't bother my shins at all. And that hanging you get there is incredible. Now, the ride itself, it's not necessarily the inversions that are the most incredible thing. It's all of those kind of misdirection trick track things that I absolutely love. It's a coaster that makes me laugh more than any other. It just feels so different, so unique, so silly. And I think in that way, it is such an impressive coaster. All of those little moves that you make. The final two inversions are great too. After that first stall, then you wrap around and you have those double sort of airtime hills that double down, which is just such great airtime, and all of it's crazy. Love that final inversion with how slow you're going. But I have to say, this last time we did it, when we went in, the third week they were open, what did you think of the speed of Wicked Cyclone?
It felt a little slower, actually. It didn't feel like normal because maybe the wheels were a little cold.
It was chilly that day, but when I compare it to the first year, I thought it was moving a lot quicker.
Oh, really?
When you in that first year, you used to crawl up that final hill into the station. I thought we were kind of flying into it. So I think it's aging really well. It kind of made a strange noise with the wheels that first season. I think it's getting a lot better as time goes on. So one of our favorite rides, definitely in my top 10. So unique, so much packed into so little. Definitely get to Six Flags New England. Personally, I like it better than Superman. It is my favorite coaster there, and probably the main reason that I would go to Six Flags New England. That's a great 1-2, whichever way you look at it. They're both great coasters.
Now, what would it be ranked on your top 10 roll of coasters?
That's a good question. At some point, I might do that. It's definitely in my top 10. I would say maybe somewhere around 6-ish, 7-ish, 8-ish, somewhere in there.
Okay, because mine was number 4, and it's close to what you have.
Yeah, so I think we're in agreement about how great of a ride it is.
Yep. Tip of the day, tip of the day. It's the tip of the day. Tip of the day, tip of the day. It's the tip of the day. Yeah.
Tip of the week for this week. Thank you, Alex, for that beautiful song. Our tip of the week is going to be Parent Swap. Utilize Parent Swap. Parent Swap is your friend. Parent Swap is awesome. I cannot recommend Parent Swap enough.
It's my friend mostly because I get to do it 2 times in a row.
Get to do it.
The coaster.
Okay, we'll explain that.
You know what I'm talking about.
All right, we'll explain that in a second. So Parent Swap. Parent Swap is for if you have multiple kids or kids who can't ride the ride at all. One parent rides the ride. At most parks, the other parent stays by the exit, and then after the first parent rides the ride, the second parent can get on. A lot of times, that first parent has to wait in the entire line, but that second parent, if they know it's going to be a half an hour, 45-minute wait, then potentially you can go on other rides with the other kids that are close by, perhaps. Maybe stay in touch through cell phone and let each other know, I'm about to ride, so come on back to the exit. So it could be a way that the kids don't have to hang around, especially on a hot day. Once the first parent is done, that second parent can swap out. Now here's where it benefits someone like Andrew. Parent Swap, let's say you have smaller kids who can't ride, but then you have 1, maybe 2 who can. So when that first parent comes off the ride, that parent leaves, the second parent comes on, and then...
And we get to do it 2 times in a row, the kids.
And so Andrew, it worked out a lot where he's able to get on a ride multiple times. So it's a wonderful thing for that. And here's a really cool part about it too, that a lot of times with Parent Swap, you can pick what seat you want. For instance, we did Top Thrill Dragster last year, where we parent swapped out, my wife and I, in the end, we had some people who were watching the kids.
But I couldn't do it.
Nope, not yet, but this is the year.
But now I can.
And so the first people who were going to watch them did the ride first. And if you know Top Thrill Dragster, it releases the people before the station, and then before you get into the station, the parent swap people can then come in. So we were able to do front row without having to wait in a front row line, although riding into the station from there is so awkward, as I didn't want to make eye contact with the other people who've been waiting in the line for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it was, and I felt like saying, no, I had parent swap, I'm not special, I didn't pay anything, there's nothing like that, I just did it because it's parent swap. I wanted to have a banner that stated that. Use parent swap, it's a wonderful thing. So there's our tip of the week.
Tip of the week.
Tip of the week. So next week, join us as we'll be talking about the Carowinds meetup and Hollywood Nights. Hollywood Nights. You got to be careful. Don't say Hollywood Nights.
Yeah.
It's not Hollywood.
It's in the air. We found it on the Hobo Po podcast.
That's right. We know, and we would never say Hollywood Nights because it's Hollywood Nights.
That would be GP of you guys. So listen to this podcast and get the advice.
It's a holiday, not a holiday. Who would ever say it that way? It makes no sense.
I mean, yeah. I mean, who would be dumb enough to do that?
So lots of great stuff coming up in the next show, and that should be next week. So thanks for joining us. It's been great to have you. When Andrew's on a coaster, he's cool and doesn't shout.
That's all for now. See you next time, Andrew.